Everything comes to a head here in grand finale at the end of your book. We first off find out we needed to know all of our notes. This is something you learned at the beginning of our lessons. We learned the names of the open strings: E, A, D, G, B, E, E, B, G, D, A, E. We filled them in to play the natural notes: E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E. We found out that that was the key of C, so in a C scale we'd start and end on C's. That's a 7-note scale. It's got half steps between B's and C's and E's and F's. There's a scale called the pentatonic where we drop those half steps. We do so by removing the F's and the B's. Then we moved on to the key of G. We found out that the pattern that the key of C gave you, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, was universal for major scales. If we applied that to a G scale, we'd need an F sharp in there. So G to A is a whole to B, half to C, whole to D, whole to E. The next whole step is F sharp, landing on G. But then we can take that and turn it into a pentatonic as well, removing the half steps by taking out the C note and now the F sharp note. So we had a G major pentatonic across the 6 strings. We've utilized it in several songs and we're going to see it in a few more very soon. That scale has a pleasant sort of country major sound. That song is My Girl, and it's got a nice major sound in G. But if we start the same scale on E, we can have an E minor or an E bluesy sound. That's what we're doing in grand finale. We're actually treating it like an E scale. We've now recently learned to read our low ledger line notes as of last time. We start in this song with E and we have a whole bunch of them. If you can't read it in your book, I'll go through it and mark off those 3 ledger lines at times to look like the letter E to remind you. Using our knowledge of the fretboard, we know that E is this low open string. So the first thing I would do is have you find those. In bar 1, there's 2 E's right at the beginning. So we'll play those 2 E's at the beginning of bar 1. Where's another one in grand finale? In bar 2 it starts with 1. The next line starts with a pair of them. The next bar has 1. And we can find one on the last line and the very last note. We've seen in the blues that if we're on an E for the first 4 bars, we'll go to an A next. We saw that recently in Dwight Yoakam's Fast As You. E riff. Moves up to the other string for A and back. We also saw it in blues bass, boogie bass, and the Beatles' Day Tripper. And we're going to see it throughout this song. So we start on low E's, we do those for 4 bars. You get to the 3rd line, that's bar 5, and you find this note on 2 ledger lines. That's the A, so we can play a pair of A's. See another A in the next bar. Line 4 is back to E's. Line 5, we're doing the turnaround. This is bar 9. So we're on this B note, it's a little higher than A. As the turnarounds do, that's a 5 chord. You move down to the A for the 4 chord and end on the 1 chord. So one of your jobs would be that. Just practice those bass notes. Another job I would do, not to derail your reading, as you know I don't want to do that, but I do want you to have patterns and sequences that you can use that make it easier. So we'd practice your scale several times too. Get the feeling for that. I'd have you look at the end of bar 2 where you see it coming down from G downward and name those notes once or twice. G, E, D, B, A, G. Name them again. G, E, D, B, A, G. Play them. Okay, what do you see at the end of the second line? Oh, the same thing. Say them. G, E, D, B, A, G. Play them. End of the third line. Same thing. End of the fourth line. Same thing. Probably I'm going to be swinging this. If you've got the feel for swing, we'd play those with swing now. So you're just going down your scale, but you're seeing it on the page. You've read it, so you know what you're looking at, but you don't have to read every single note every single time. So now I would play the beginnings, pause, let you do this. I'm on the next one with E's. You do your scale. I go to A. The whole riff went higher, but this part is the same. Back to E. Now I play bar 9. This is the 5th line, the turnaround. Just so you get a chance to hear it each time. I'll hit the low E, and you can play your scale again, but not from G, from the open E and all the way down. You should read those notes. E, D, B, A, G, E, D, B, A, G, E. And now maybe we can get to swing them. Again. Notice you're just playing your scale so far. That or this. It's helping the reading and the preparation of this song, but it's also going in your pocket to help you with an infinite number of songs going forward that all use this scale. So now we might switch jobs. We go back and you see that you're playing this low E, and I'll do some notes in between. You can hit the low E in the next bar and the scale. Next line you do the same. Low E, I'll do the others. You hit the low E and the high scale again. Now you can do the open A, I'll fill in. You hit the A and the scale. We're on line 4 with the original idea. You get the low E, you get the low E and the scale. I'll just shut you down and take the next line myself. Now I think you could take the entire last line, low E to high E. So then we can look at a little bit more. You've played a whole bunch of this already. You're getting very close to the entire song with very little reading so far. Now we're going to play this E, and then we'll find the E on the line for Every Good Boy Deserves Fudge. E, an octave higher, D, B, and down to E again. Low E to higher E. We've gone up 8 notes in a scale. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, and E is the 8th. That's an octave. If you can't remember it, I can draw you an octagon sometimes, a stop sign, how many sides on the octagon, and you get 8, so you'll remember 8 notes in an octave. E to E, F to F, G to G, anything like that is an octave. Or I'll draw the octopus to remind you. So now you're going from E up an octave, walking down the scale, E up to the top of the scale. Again, sometimes I'd stop and have you read every item there, but after a while you'll get the feel of it, and I want you to feel it in the pentatonic. Line 2, scale. Line 3, it's a blues. We move up to the 4 chord, the A, and do the idea again. A to higher A, walking down the scale. A, and the high part. Probably we have to practice that again, from A to the A on the 3rd string. G, E, A. G, E, A. Got it? Okay, do that now with the high part. You're really good at that. You've played that over and over while I did the beginnings. So now you're just polishing off how to get the low section in with the high. We're now on bar 7, and we're back to E's, the 1 chord. I'm doing bars 9 and 10 still, the turnaround. But you can go from low E to high E and down the scale. would have this scale written in the corner of your book at this point. We would have practiced it many times, and anytime we come back to this song, we'd warm up on it. Most of this would probably have taken up an entire half-hour lesson, if not more. So we've been playing octaves from E to E and A to A. On the last line, we go 2 octaves from low E to high E. Notice we've called this in other days the G major pentatonic, but if we include the E as the bass instead, it's an E minor pentatonic. So you're seeing all this focus on E's. This is like the Beatles song Day Tripper or Dwight Yoakam's Fast As You. E, A, and B are the 1, 4, 5. And we're using in those songs and here the pentatonic minor in E, which is the same as the pentatonic major in G. So now we have to work on that B chord. We have the same thing happening. We have B up an octave to B. So 2nd fret B to open B, 2nd fret B to open B. Next bar has open A to the other A. Hey, that's cool. That's open A to 2nd fret A. We've reversed what we did in B. 2nd to open in B, open to 2nd in A. After we hit the high B, we can see we come down the pentatonic minor again from D to B to A to G. So we go B, B, D, B, A, G. Once again, name the notes. B, B, D, B, A, G, but then practice it in terms of the scale. Jump an octave and come down the scale. Spot how that scale looks in your book. Now we'll go into the next bar, just like we saw in Drunken Sailor, in Blues Bass, in Snake Charmer. We've learned one idea, and now we're moving it in exactly the same way onto another scale tone. So we did B to B and up. Now we'll go A to A and up. Everything's been moved down a scale tone. The scale, though, this time is pentatonic. So now we go A, naming your notes, B, A, G, E, D. Okay, there's one extra note this time. The last one ended on the quarter note. This one adds an 8th note. One extra note there to end on the open D. So A, B, A, G, E, D. So now we practice the B, the A, So in these videos, I demonstrate by playing several times what you should be practicing. You would pause it or just shut her off and go work on this. You don't practice it 2 or 3 times like I'm showing you. It's over and over and over until it feels pretty good. Once this is good, then we can tie it in with the last line. As we've seen with even from our first song in the book, Ode to Joy, you practice the first bars quite a bit to get started, so they're usually way better than the later bars. Our skill generally fades as we work through the song. Our attention and repetition have faded too as we've done it, and that's the reason we're not as good near the end. So what you can do with all your songs is actually take time to practice the end of the song. Right now we haven't worked on this nearly as much, so this becomes a focus. This could even be the work of 1 week. B, A, down the scale from the 2nd octave. B, A, E, E. So you've gotten good now at the end of the song. Last week you were already good at the beginning, so let's play it through. I'll go slowly here, hopefully slowly enough. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and E. High scale, A. High scale is the same. Scales the same. Totally new line. B, A, E, 2 octaves. Thanks a lot. Hopefully you've made your way here in a year or so. And if you haven't, try to head back to the beginning and fill in all the gaps. Thanks again. Talk to you guys later. Bye.